Still do my drumming.
You're still doing it? I thought that would stop.
Well, it didn't stop. It didn't stop. I know you had a couple days off. Welcome to Still Up with 6. Heidi is back. Chris Rogers, Heidi Laga. You guys know the deal. Good morning to you, Aaron. Good morning, Jessica. And good morning to you, Lisa.
Let me go check in. Let's see what's happening. I want to give some shout outs as well.
Yeah, start giving some shout outs. Welcome back, Heidi. We know you had a nice little some time off. We had some guests fill in. We had director Sean Hobbs make a cameo appearance.
I did watch. Yeah, no matter what, I always watch and support the Texas Today and Still Up with 6 squad. I saw Crystal and director Sean Hobbs. You guys talked about all the summer movies. I missed out. You guys had some great discussions.
Yeah, we did. Hey, Abigail, good morning to you. It's her baby Grayson's first birthday today. Happy birthday, Grayson, from all of us here at Texas Today. You should have sent in his picture for the show.
Well, he got a special shout out right here on Still Up with 6. Again, thank you everyone for joining us. Let's get right into our talkers. We have so much to discuss. I feel like when you take some time off, you just have so much you want to talk about.
You got a lot going on. Yeah, you came in full of ideas today. Good morning. Welcome back. People are saying welcome back.
Thank you guys.
So
thank you.
Let's talk about this. So this woman in Argentina, a judge has granted her $179,000 for 27 years of housework after she was divorced.
Now, she says she gave up her career in economics. She studied economics. She gave it up for 3 decades to take care of the kids as well as cook and clean and do all the housework. And now she's saying she can't find a job and she can't pay her bills because they got a divorce.
She does have a degree in economics as well. Now, people were pointing out on our Facebook page that this was voluntary. She voluntarily did this. Of course, I'm not sure how the divorce laws are set up in Argentina, but I know here that a lot of times alimony is structured in, child support structured in. But people on our Facebook page were saying they're advising their daughters, start planning for that because marriage doesn't always mean forever these days.
Yeah, and we saw some comments saying, you know, you need to be independent and like you said, start planning, but setting money aside because you just never know what happens. And that's something that my mom personally taught me, you know, and I'm not married, so I can't give any insight on that. But I will say, you know, when I do get married, I do plan to have not only continue working, but also have some sort of fun just in case. A backup plan. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just think that it's important to make sure that you can stand on your own 2 feet in the event of something happening.
Aaron says it's not enough, not nearly enough. Sure, she gave up her career, but he left her high and dry. Not right. Probably left her for a younger model. Am I right? Aaron, we don't know if you're right, but potentially. I mean, that does happen. Bill saying, good for her, get that money.
Yeah, you know, when you think about 27 years of work, $179,000 just is not enough, you know, when you think about it technically and you break it down.
But I would say this, though. I mean, there was never any agreement that she would get paid for her work, right?
Yes.
I mean, you go into that, you know, it's a very important job being, a mother and a housewife, of course, but you go into that knowing there's no contract set up, there's no obligation, you're not getting paid. So it's interesting to go after the fact and be like, by the way, I did all that work, remember? Now send someone the check.
Now, what's interesting is that, you know, she chose to put her career aside and she chose to be a full-time stay-at-home mom, which is totally great, and I support that and her decision. But what I'm trying to say is at the end of the day, she wasn't paying bills. So for that entire time that she was living under a roof with food on the table and food for her kids, she wasn't being paid to do the housework. So I feel like that in itself, she wasn't getting paid, but she also wasn't paying bills. So I kind of feel like that cancels each other out.
It also it's interesting because and people were pointing this out on our Facebook page as well, is that they're both their children. You know, this is not a nanny situation where she was brought in and then wasn't compensated for taking care of someone else's children. She was being a mother. But let's see what Aaron is weighing in again, saying, oh no, she's getting paid. Well, it's never going to be enough. I think the victory is priceless. So she's saying maybe the idea of it is kind of a moral victory.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's not about the money, but the lady is not able to pay her bills and can't get a job for whatever her circumstances are. It's just interesting because, you know, you brought up the Argentina laws and, you know, maybe we don't know what they are and the protection it has when you do get a divorce.
Yeah, and this is an interesting comment from James. I think we're kind of on the same page here. Why should you get paid to take care of your family and husband, right? This is something that's kind of what you sign up for when you're a wife, and if you say I'm going to be a wife and a mother, you're going to take care of your children and you're going to be a wife. I mean, that's not something that's typically you're getting a paycheck for bi-weekly or weekly.
Yeah, and you know, and here's the thing, we saw one of those comments that said maybe she could have worked part-time to keep her career going, and then when the situation happened where they got a divorce, she was able to maybe switch to full-time, or maybe when her kids got older, she launched her career again. I think there are so many chances for her to get back on her feet, and I'm not saying she's not deserving of some sort of compensation for the work that she did, but I also think that she didn't think about herself, and she didn't think about the possibility of this divorce.
Yeah, and I think that it's interesting coming from maybe this is me as a man's perspective, and maybe it's short-sighted. So you guys correct me if you guys don't agree with me here. But I see some of these major divorce cases. You see Jeff Bezos, you see Tiger Woods, right? And Jeff Bezos creates this multi-billion-dollar empire from his garage. Tiger Woods, one of the great all-time athletes, instantly when they divorce, their spouses become multi-millionaires. In Jeff Bezos' wife's case, multi-billionaires.
Yeah.
And it seems like, well, just because you were along for the journey, why do you get half of the things?
I'm going to have to disagree with you. I think we're going to have a public fight here on Facebook Live. No, but here's the thing. I think that at the end of the day, she was supporting him, his dream. Yes, she wasn't the mastermind and the brains behind it, but everyone needs a support system for anything that they do. And I think that was a big role that Mackenzie Bezos played in Amazon's formation for Jeff. And I think that she does deserve that money because she was there those long nights. You don't know what she was doing. Maybe she was bringing him the coffee that kept him up throughout the night working on the coding for Amazon or the idea. I think that there are things that maybe we don't know about the relationship in specific to that, becoming a multi-billionaire, but she also raised their kids. They have kids. She also was keeping the household up to date. And I think that she paid her dues with supporting him in this dream. And I think that at the end of the day, it worked out for both of them. It didn't just work out for Jeff, it worked out for the family.
Right, and going back to the situation in Argentina, I think Lisa has an interesting point, kind of combating what I was saying, and now I'm seeing that perspective. Yeah, she did sign up to be a wife, and she did sign up to be a mother, but she points out she didn't sign up for her husband to leave her with nothing, right? That wasn't part of the agreement.
That is true.
That was something unforeseen. So that's a good point, Lisa, and I now I can kind of see that perspective. Yeah, she signed up knowing there was no pay involved, but you're also signing up thinking this is forever.
Yep. And I don't think anyone goes into a marriage thinking, you know what, we're going to get divorced in 10, 20, 30 years. I think that everyone hopes their marriage will work out despite the divorce rate. I'm still hopeful that you can have a long-lasting marriage and a successful one. So I think that, yeah, although you want to plan for that slight percentage of the possibility of getting a divorce, even though you don't want to believe it, I do think that she didn't know. She didn't sign up for that. She didn't sign up for a divorce.
And Michael it looks like he's agreeing that this is not enough. He says, what's that, about $500 a month? Could you live on $500 a month? At least move up to the poverty level. That is an interesting point. It seems like a lot as a lump sum, right?
Yeah.
But when you break it down to a month-to-month basis, it's not that much. But it is important to point out the cost of living in Argentina, I think we were saying earlier, is about half of what it is here in the United States. And they said you can live comfortably for $1,000 a month in Argentina, that is. Of course, here, $1,000 a month. Sometimes, if you're a family, maybe that might be a struggle.
Yeah, but here's the thing: she's not getting $1,000 a month. She's getting $500, so she's not going to be living comfortably in Argentina, which is the interesting part about this whole thing. I feel like the judge kind of had to side with both when he gave her that $179,000, because that's just not enough if you break it down month by month. But I think that he had to side with both of them. I can see both sides of this personally.
Well, and Thomas says, what about men left with nothing? And maybe that's short-sighted again as a man, but I feel like sometimes these divorce laws are swayed toward women because of what people think is the traditional family structure. I mean, would this be the same case if this was a man that was left high and dry, or would they say, would the idea be, well, go get a job, go figure it out? I wonder if it would be. I had a stay-at-home. I had a stay-at-home dad growing up, and he did a great job. He did a wonderful job, and obviously he didn't get paid. And I wonder if that sometimes, if they were to ever get a divorce, if that would, if the law would skew towards in his favor or not.
Yeah, I think that's important to know. It's not easy being a parent at all, whether you're a man or a woman. Abigail is saying, you guys, staying at home isn't easy. I worked since I was 16 years old, and becoming a mom has been the hardest thing I've ever done. My husband makes sure that I know what I do at home is important and needed. I know so many people that want to work because it's easier. Parenting full-time is work in itself, and I agree. I think that, so many, I can't say that I know that it's hard, but I can only imagine seeing my mom was a single mom, and she worked and she raised us and she kept up with the household, so she did it all. So for me, she's like superwoman, and I can see how hard it can be for parents to raise kids and to keep up with the world we live in right now. So it's hard. It's hard.
It definitely is. And Abigail, we did definitely agree with you here. Being a mom is one of the most important jobs in the world, and certainly a very difficult job to do. It's a job
difficult.
They always say that it doesn't stop, right? You don't get to clock out on being a mom. That commercial comes to mind where you can't call in sick on being a mom if you're feeling under the weather. So definitely an interesting conversation. We want to thank you guys for joining that conversation. Do you want to talk about the U.S. soccer team? This has a lot of people angry online.
Yeah, I don't know. So the U.S. women's soccer team is playing right now in the World Cup. They played against Thailand. They beat them 13-0. But Chris, you were saying every time they scored a goal, they celebrated as if it was their first goal.
I love it. You know what? I love it.
You love it?
I love this. And people were saying that they ran up the score. People were saying that this is overly competitive, that they should have just been more sportsmen. At the end of the day, this is competition. This is a competition at the highest level. This isn't a youth soccer game. This isn't pick up in the backyard.
Yeah.
This isn't a recreational league. This is the World Cup. The best is going to rise to the top. They came to play. And listen, for some of these women, it was the first time they've ever scored in a World Cup game. I'm going to celebrate. I don't care if it's 13 or 40.
Well, Alex Morgan scored 5 goals yesterday alone. I don't know. I just think that, at some point you kind of have to take into consideration. I get that it's a sport and you are at a competition, the biggest competition of your career. But at the end of the day, it's just like after it's 10-0, I think there should be a line of just like,
maybe dial it back a little. Maybe dial back the celebration. But what do you think about in terms of scoring? I think they're sending a message. I think whoever's going to play the women's soccer team next year going to look at 13-0. That's a much bigger.
That's a record, right?
That's more. If you're winning 10-0, dial it back. So Aaron is commenting saying, take it easy if you hit double digits.
Yeah, I think so too. Only because you can't forget that the other team also worked hard to be there. I mean, yes, maybe they weren't the better team of the two, but they did work hard to be there, and that hurts. That hurts.
Dennis says, my grandpa said it best. If you're winning, act like you've done it before. That's an important point. And I think that where I draw the discretion is the celebration is different than the goals. The goals I'm fine with. You score as many as you want.
Oh yeah,
this is a competition at the end of the day.
Never too much celebration from Ronnie saying, why not celebrate all the blood, sweat, and tears that led to that moment? Yeah, I think you got to draw a line at some point. I think that I agree. Celebrate and cheer on with your team and celebrate that win. That is hard work and it takes a lot to be there. But I don't know. After 10, I would start feeling bad for the other team.
And that is why, Heidi, you are not part of the U.S. women's soccer team because we have
it's because I can't kick a ball.
Mercy.
That's why.
Ronnie says you cannot dial it back on the world stage.
Oh,
that's true. That's what I'm
guys.
saying. You can't dial this back. This is the biggest stage in the world. This is the crowning achievement. This is their dream. And all of a sudden, I have to do a polite golf clap because your feelings are going to be hurt. I don't think so.
Now we know where we each stand on this.
Yeah, now I know I'm not going to sign you up for my soccer team.
I do want to talk about this story here before we run out of time. It's about living separately.
Okay.
We were supposed to talk about John Legend, but I want to jump to this because I think you guys at home will have a lot to say. Gwyneth Paltrow and her husband live in separate homes. They live together 4 days a week, 3 days a week. They spend time apart. What do you think about this?
Well, it must be nice, Must be nice to have the kind of resources where you just have multiple houses. If it works for you, it works for you. A lot of people, might have a problem with it, but if they've got the resources to do it, and that's how their marriage is working. I mean, I know that she's had a couple divorces before, so maybe this is the way to do it.
Yeah, she was married to Chris Martin. They got divorced, and then she got married again. And I don't know. I just think that you're in this marriage, if you're not living together and going through everything together on a day-to-day basis, it feels like it can make the relationship tough. It might work for some people. I'm just saying on a personal level, I don't think I could do this.
Well, maybe this is something where they need their space, and this is the way that their relationship seems to work. Of course, Gwyneth Paltrow's been through a couple of these, so it would be interesting to see. We got a lot of people talking about. Let's go back to the soccer because I want to hear about some of these people's opinions. If they can't stop you from scoring, that's their problem. The amount of celebration is too much, though. Dennis, that is my opinion exactly. And what is Chance saying?
Let's see. Chance is saying we must play like every minute means something. Did anyone tell Tiger Woods he couldn't win by a huge number of strokes? Well, that's true.
This is coming from Raymond, who said, agreed, Ronnie, I coached at the international level, and you have to keep the work rate like you were playing in the final. That's really interesting.
Everyone's agreeing.
Yeah, Raymond actually coached at that kind of level, and he says you got to keep it going. It's about sending a message, and it's about keeping up the momentum, keeping up the pace. So I think that the U.S. women's soccer team, keep it going. Go USA. I know that Thomas, watching, one of our friends from across the pond, he's probably going to be waiting for the England women. But I root for English when it comes to the men. For some reason, I got to get behind Team USA when it comes to the women.
You have to, and they're killing it. Of course, they're playing again Sunday is their next game. So congratulations to them on their win, despite our mixed feelings.
Yeah, despite our difference in opinion. We've had a little back and forth. When you came back, it's been a little feisty, but that's going to do it for Still Up with 6 on this Wednesday morning. Have no fear. We will see you tomorrow morning, same time, same place.
That is right. Until then, have a great day.